Hey guys, welcome to the very end of 2018. What a year. What a year. And hopefully it was your best year yet as well. It was my second consecutive best year ever, and I am already well underway on our plans for 2019 to make that the third consecutive. Whether you had your best year ever or whether your year was a little less than what you'd hoped for, now's the time to really start putting together a terrific executable game plan as you go into the new year. And so hopefully that's what you guys are doing. We've got a lot of really big topics to cover with you here today. I've got some updates for you that I want to share, just sort of round out the year. Everything I talk about here today, my hope is that it has some positive influence on you, just as we try to do on every video here on this channel. To start things off, I just wanted to share with you another really great charity that we've been supporting throughout the year. This is called 4Ocean, and 4Ocean is a charity that cleans up the plastic out of the oceans. And obviously we have a lot of really big concerns about what's happening environmentally, and we want to try and do our part. That's why you always see me carrying around this big ugly red thermos, because frankly I'm just sick and tired of using using plastic. And every time I discard a piece of plastic, I made a commitment to myself early this year that I would donate $1, whether I was discarding it in the garbage or actually recycling it. Still, it's leaving a footprint. So I've found that even with that high level of consciousness, it's almost impossible to get below 7 articles of plastic on average every single day, which means I'm donating a little over $200 per month on average. And you know, that is pretty scary because it means it's unavoidable. You know, if I buy a cardboard container of milk, that still has a tiny plastic cover to seal it. If I order something on Amazon, it's usually stuffed full of bubble wrap. So very difficult to escape entirely, but certainly would recommend 4Ocean as a terrific place to send any discretionary cash flow that you have in order to keep this a nice clean planet for us for many, many generations to come. So on that note, let's go ahead and talk about some really big news, guys. 3 or 4 months ago, I announced that we were pursuing a property. Now, if you followed along on that story, you would have seen that the deal kind of fell apart, if you will. We just couldn't come to that common ground on purchase price, yet here we are, and we're now under contract on that very same property. Now, the message that I want to share with you guys here about this contract is that patience is one of the single most important ingredients to your success in implementing what we teach successfully. And I talk about that frequently here on the channel, and I want to emphasize it yet again. I received an email recently from a coaching member that was expressing some displeasure regarding the timeline with which his progress was being made. And it caught my attention. I thought it was worth sharing here because I think all of us feel that way from time to time. I know I do, and I'm kind of the poster child for impatience. And yet, when I reached out to him to discuss his concerns, you know, we were quickly able to agree that maybe what he was expressing wasn't necessarily rational. The perspective needed to be revisited. And so here's where he was coming from. It had been roughly 3 months since he had his initial first coaching session. Always takes a couple coaching sessions before we're well underway and a customized plan is starting to develop. So the first month or two oftentimes is getting rolling, which means that he was really only about a month or two deep. In his mind, he was already 6 months deep, according to the initial email concern. So we're already seeing our minds playing tricks on us. Our brains have a hard time putting timelines together with a high level of accuracy. So when I refresh his memory on the exact timelines, I could see already he was beginning to sort of realize this is maybe he's expecting too much. And he also, to his credit, acknowledged that he's a 30-year-old guy. Sometimes we aren't necessarily completely clear when we're younger on what realistic timelines should be. But I like his urgency, you know, and I wanted to encourage it. I want to feed the urgency. I don't want to discourage that. Going deeper, what I found in the research of his relationship with his coach, who's a total superstar, a total success with everything he touches, has decades worth of experience. The coach was recommending that because of 24 active credit inquiries on this coaching member's credit report when he started with coaching, that we wait until February before we begin to apply for some really new exciting debt weapons that we want to add to his collection over time. Because in February, a whole bunch of these inquiries that were on the credit report would fall off, making his chances of successful applications much higher. Contrary to the advice, this coaching member decided to submit a number of applications anyway. And no big surprise, those applications were declined. So when we had our conversation, this was a bit of the reminder that I wanted to share with him was, listen, we have to go in knowing that one of the best parts of coaching is having somebody there with a lot more experience than us telling us when it makes sense to push the pause button. And that was something that I think was really well received by him, and also a very important lesson to all of us that, coaches are not just there to help things continue to move forward, but also to help rein us in. We can often go out and cause damage to ourselves without knowing any better. And that was an example here on this property. So we've got this great new deal. It's a 5-acre, 2,200 and change square foot, single family ranch dwelling. And it's made out of this really incredible construction. It's called ICF, which is an insulated concrete form construction. Basically, it just means that this house is a tank. The perk of this investment is that, again, we think we can go in there and with a lot of creativity, turn this into some enormous profits without even allowing other people to utilize the property. When we first considered this investment 3-4 months ago, my real estate mentor encouraged me to push the pause button. Now, it wasn't that he was trying to pull me out of the deal and disappoint me, although I was disappointed, but he just felt at the time that we were coming in and paying too much if we gave them what they were asking. Now, when they first listed this property about 550 days ago, which is a long, long time in the world of real estate, they listed it at $790,000. And when we came in and initially made an offer, they were already way down to $625,000 as the asking price. 4 months ago, we offered $510,000, which I realized was a little insulting, I suppose. And we just couldn't hit that happy medium to please everybody. So 3 months passed, we paid off a rental property. We highlighted that here on the channel as well, showed you guys the process and how that freed up an extra almost $2,000 per month in cash flow. And here we are now today in a much better position to not just get a much better deal on that property than we were getting in our initial negotiations. In fact, it saved us about $10,000 being patient for 3 months. But it also gave us a lot of the cash flow stacking benefits where we now have a lot more cash flow to work with, a lot more equity to work with, and even a lot more availability to work with as we continue to grow this property out. So because of the extra cash flow for the last 3 or 4 months, we're able to actually cash flow the down payment on this property, which we're gonna go ahead and put 20% down. This will be a primary residence. We're going to maintain a residence in Denver as well. We're gonna just stay down there and then come back to Denver for business purposes when necessary. So you're gonna start to see a lot of new scenery come this spring when we close in March. And we started looking at this place and saying, well, what if we Airbnb it when we're back in Denver? Well, that looks like a pretty promising market. This happens to be in an area known as Buena Vista to the locals, which is obviously pronounced wrong if you know anything about Spanish. Buena Vista, to those of us that know how to pronounce Spanish. For whatever reason, they decided 160 or 170 years ago that this town should be known as Buena Vista. Beautiful, very small community, very tight-knit, and the proximity of this property is unbelievable within range of downtown and unbelievable within range to all the other attractions, which includes world-class hot springs, world-class whitewater rafting, the Collegiate Peaks, which is the largest number of 14,000 foot and up mountains here in Colorado. A lot of really terrific outdoor type of attractions. And the proximity of this property makes all of those super easily accessible, and it'll make it a very appealing property. So we're sitting there saying, well, let's Airbnb it. And we believe that within that market, we could easily generate anywhere between $500 to $1,000 per month in positive cash flow while still being able to enjoy the property ourselves. Now, I call this a lifestyle asset, and I want to make sure that we're focusing as we go into 2019 on more lifestyle assets, because what better way to make wealth, to create wealth and build out income streams than being able to enjoy something yourself also? I mean, if you could own a yacht and charter that yacht and make big profits on it, and use the yacht yourself, well, that sounds pretty nice to me too. So what we want to do is say, well, what other options are there other than getting hustled or scammed into buying some sort of a timeshare where you get the same benefits of these lifestyle-based assets. But as we began thinking further about it, we started to second guess how much we really want to have strangers roaming around the house, using the master bedroom, using our beds. This is kind of a gross concept when it's your own home, and for some reason it's acceptable when you're using hotels and other people's Airbnbs. So I know there's not a lot of rationale to it, but it was also something that as we began continuing to think of ways to make money with this property, it was a consideration. And we're sitting around shortly after going under contract on this property. It was not the decision maker for whether or not to purchase this property, because we would be willing to Airbnb it if that was the only way to make a cash flowing residence out of it. But as we're up in the middle of the night and we're brainstorming, and again, this was an all-nighter, we didn't sleep at all this night, it came to us, it dawned on us that we could actually create an experience on this 5 acres that's unique to the town, that's welcomed by the community, that allows people to get the same sort of excitement from camping, but in a more glamorous experience. And it's actually an industry known as glamping. And so we're gonna explore that. I think with the wide range of potential, we're gonna see somewhere on a worst case side of somewhere around $8,000 per month in revenues, all the way up to as much as $30,000 or more in revenues every single month from this one property. Now the property, again, out the door, we've managed to lock it in at a $600,000 commitment. The first loan amount is going to end up being just south of $485,000 after we put 20% in, cover all the costs of closing. Again, we're cash flowing that. While we could use a debt weapon that we have available, it's obviously better not to have to if we don't need to. So we're going to put the money down, and come somewhere around the timeline of June of next summer, we hope to have our first structure on the land that we can use for friends and family when they come to visit, and also Airbnb to visitors in Buena Vista. So this is a really exciting opportunity, not just for us, but for you, because if we can come up with these sort of formulas, look, I've done the numbers under worst case costs, and it comes out to about $300,000. There's absolutely no way it'll cost more than that. That includes putting in new well, new septic, that includes the structure, that includes the most magnificent landscaping that we could think of, because we want this to be very sort of over the top, if you will. I want people to drive in and have that really kind of wow factor first impression. So we're looking at spending 6 figures just in landscaping on this idea. And if we can get out the door for $300,000, and we can even leverage that if we don't have the cash flow funds to do the project on our own, use other people's money, and it brings in a worst case of $8,000, not only are we able to cover the $3,000 of principal, interest, taxes, and insurance that we'll be liable for on the primary residence for this home, but we'll have $5,000 left over in cash flow. That number could be as much as $25,000 left over in cash flow. We're also going to look at having somebody manage this for us full time, which could easily end up costing somewhere between $30,000 to $50,000 per year. And yet, that's a small drop in the bucket if you're bringing in as much as $360K in a year. Now, after $360K sees the cost of PITI of $3,000 a month, or $36,000 total, that number is obviously reduced to somewhere around $324,000 pre-tax, adjusted gross, if you will. Then if we were to have somebody come in and manage that property for us, it obviously brings it down to somewhere closer to $275,000 adjusted gross that we would then pay taxes on. These numbers are outrageously good. I've never in the entire history of being involved in real estate seen potential this good on long-term buy and hold real estate. If that catches your attention, you're gonna wanna make sure you stay tuned to the videos we're gonna be dropping in 2019 that sort of goes into the details and the specifics behind this specific idea, because I think that this is an incredible opportunity for others in other really attractive areas where the concept of glamping might appeal. So make sure that you're keeping up with us on that specific property, and who knows, perhaps some of you will be able to come out and see this for yourselves and enjoy the area in Buena Vista. It's fabulous. In fact, if we build one of these, maybe we'll even give away a trip to come in and enjoy the glamping experience right there on our property. That would be so cool. And speaking of giveaways, let's go ahead and talk about those. We've given away thousands of dollars in 2018. We want to continue to give away more than ever before in 2019. And it's going to start with the very first videos of the year. So you've got to come back and make sure you watch those. And it's going to be a race moving forward. So up until now, what we've done is selected just one winner for the various prizes that we've given away. Those, for the most part, include these $25 Amazon gift cards. You can use them for any reason at all. These things are so awesome. Been very, very popular. And I want to give away more of these, but not only am I going to double the amount we give away, which is going to go from one $25 Amazon gift card each week to now 2, but we're going to actually make it a race. So we're going to select multiple winners for each $25 Amazon gift card that's given, and it'll be the first who claims it who will end up receiving it, which means you better be prepared the second that video drops to come back to the channel and see if you were one of the winners. Now, the only way you can win is you've got to be a subscriber first and foremost. Number 2, you've got to post a comment and you've got to like the videos. The more you do that on the various videos throughout the channel, the better your odds are of winning. The more you do that through our other social media platforms, the better your odds are of winning. In fact, we just rolled 100,000 followers on Instagram between 2 accounts. Granted, I know it doesn't have quite the same effect when you're adding 2 accounts together, but we do have 2 VIP specific accounts. One is a lifestyle-based Instagram account, and the other one is really just there to help fuel your motivation every day. So make sure that you are currently following us on our Instagram accounts. We'll put the links in the description below on those as well. But those are eligible for these contests, as is LinkedIn, as is Facebook. So anywhere that you can be active, including Yelp, if you're a current coaching member and you're enjoying having the added accountability from that expert sitting next to you to help you make the right decisions, then go on to Yelp, share your experience, and we will be picking winners from all versions of our online activity. But again, we're gonna be selecting several candidates that have the opportunity to win, and of those candidates, the first one to come in and claim the prize is gonna be the one to get it. So that's a very exciting and very fun addition to what we'll be planning to do there for 2019. So guys, the biggest takeaway I want you to get from this specific video is that, listen, you can have a really crummy year and you can have an excellent year, and it changes nothing about going into the next. You've got to make sure that you have the right state of mind and that you're prepared to make the next year the best ever, but it's not going to happen by accident. It's going to happen because of intentions. It's going to happen because you're out there actually executing a game plan, right? It happens because of not just intention, but a proactive approach. And I think sometimes people fail to realize that. Make sure you're hustling. Make sure that 2019 is one that you're taking seriously. Don't just sit by the wayside. Don't just allow your money to be passive. Don't be complacent about these things. Really, truly prepare to sit down and set aside a handful of hours each and every month to manage your money and to take control of the banks. It only takes a couple of hours a month to do this. And the very first thing that I would encourage each and every single one of you to do, whether you're a coaching member or whether you're just now finding out about this channel for the first time, the place you start and stick with is managing a budget. And I know that word it sucks. I mean, we call it a cash flow cruncher because we don't want to call it a budget. It's a discouraging word. It's one of those 4-letter words that surround money. It's a lot like saying the word diet when it comes to your fitness. Guys, there's just no way around it. We have to face the facts that a budget and knowing what's coming in and what's going out each and every month is absolutely critical. And aside from that, guys, we've got some tremendous collaborations that are coming up. I woke up this morning at about 4 a.m. to find an email from a 1 million sub YouTube channel, one of the biggest business related channels on the platform, one of the biggest business related experts on anywhere in the world, who now wants to collaborate with us. So be on the lookout for more of that. We're going to continue to bring in people like Nick Fortune. We're going to continue to bring in people like Michael Matthey. We're going to continue to bring in the real estate experts. We're going to continue to talk all about these subjects. And I'm insisting on each of these videos that the content becomes more and more specific, that it gets to be more and more numbers based, that we use actual living case studies so that you as the viewer can continue to see the math behind why everything we're discussing works. The math behind why cash flow is the most important thing when it comes to your money. And that's why we keep a budget, folks. We keep a budget so that we can know exactly what our cash flow is. If you haven't yet gotten your copy of the Cash Flow Cruncher worksheet, it is by far the most comprehensive, most user-friendly, and most strategic-based financial spreadsheet I've ever seen, and we give it away to you for free just for being a loyal follower here on the channel. So make sure you claim yours at cashflowcruncher.com. We'll put that link in the description below as well, just so you can get the spelling right. Aside from that, guys, there's not a whole lot more to add. The only other thing I want to make sure that you guys are aware of, oh boy, check this out, I forgot. Isn't that cool? This is a little gift to myself out in Maui. This is a Mosasaurus tooth, estimated 70 million years old, 66 to 70 million years old. And man, when I picked this up for the first time, it was almost electric in a way. It was just the energy that comes through with that much history, and the fact that this living, breathing creature could leave behind something like this as a legacy is so phenomenal for that many years. So that was a cool gift that I found from a collector. But going into the next year, guys, I can't wait to go and burn this with you. And I mean literally burn it. I'm going to start it on fire. This is my release of the mortgage from Mr. Cooper, formerly known as Nation Star, on the rental property that you guys saw me pay off in full. So we're going to take this thing and torch it. That actually used to be a common practice with people like my grandparents when they paid houses off, and I think that sort of fell by the wayside when people no longer paid houses off anymore. So we're going to try and bring that back. One final thing that I'm very excited about going into 2019 is we're going to start to design a reward or an awards-based program for those of you that are achieving success. I think every single one of you that reaches a 760 credit score should have an award given to you. Whether or not you're a coaching member, as long as you're a loyal follower of the channel, we're going to see what we can do to reward you. Number two, I want to give an award out to those of you who pay off your homes. I mean, if you pay off a house like this, you should be awarded something, right? I mean, I love this, guys, right? 100,000 subscriber plaque from YouTube, just celebrating our accomplishments. This really means something. I know it maybe shouldn't, but I don't know. It feels so good to be acknowledged. We've got another really great prize on the way. It's called the 2 Comma Club Award, and we'll do an unboxing on that hopefully in the next few weeks. We're not quite sure when it's going to show up, but I want to do something similar for you. And when you pay off your credit cards, right? When you become non-mortgage debt-free, pay off those student loans and auto loans, you should deserve an award for that. And VIP is going to be the ones to give it to you guys. So be on the lookout for announcements regarding those awards. We haven't yet formalized it. We're going to design something really cool, something that's special and unique that, you know, it'll continue to keep you motivated and on track. And that's really the purpose of this channel here. I want all of you to reach those goals. Again, whether or not you're a coaching member isn't going to matter. We are going to be giving away 1 coaching membership to start the year off. And again, it'll be a race to claim that. So make sure you're checking out those videos as we kick off the new year. Aside from that, guys, I don't really have a whole lot to add. I'm just so excited. I'm so antsy. Obviously, my ADD is in high effect right now. But I do know one thing, and it's that I wouldn't be here sitting, sharing all these great accomplishments with you if it wasn't for you. We give you guys the credit. I give my team the credit. My team are partners in this with me, and I couldn't do it without them. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate them so, so much. I wish you all the best this holiday season, and I can't wait to share in your best year yet going into 2019. Thank you so, so much. Make it a great day and take care.